Everybody, I am so excited today to bring into the LLB Goes to 11 catalog a video here with my incredibly great friend, Fred Fields. I've known Fred for around 20 years.
Yeah.
Exactly. We probably met in 99-ish.
Yeah.
Because I think from what I remember of the building that we met in at our church, we built a new building in '01. So I think we had met around 99 or 2000.
Yeah.
Fred has just been he has been a part of many LLB shoots behind the camera. He's just been a huge supporter. He's probably one of our biggest fans.
Yeah.
He gets to see
Totally.
from the inside. So, Fred, this is an exciting video because people are going to hear from someone who watches it all go down, gets to see how the sausage
Yeah.
is made. So, I'm excited to have you in here. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, great. It's great to be here. It's great to share my view from a non-musician aspect of it. And it's just really, I just wanted to say it's an honor to be here to be chosen to do Goes to 11. I was just floored when you asked me to do it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But I do think I am your biggest fan.
I think you are, possibly. There might be people out there who would fight you on that. But I'll tell you, there's a short list of people who have been around as much the project as much as you have who are not musicians. And so I thought it'd be a really cool thing to kind of get your from both seeing it happen and loving the videos, and you share it and you bring friends in from out of state for the show, and it's just great. So people get tired of me rambling on, so we're going to jump right in, if you don't care, with your top
Let's
list.
go.
We're going to start with number 11, and this is an interesting choice. This was a session we did during COVID, and so this was our Kiss session, and you chose at 11, Shout It Out Loud.
Shout It Out Loud. So the thing I really remember most about this is how incredibly difficult it was for you guys, because you guys were in a mask and we weren't, but you guys were, and you guys were in hoodies and sunglasses, and it was hot.
It was.
And so, it was really hot. And so, as we're filming, we're actually getting heat from you guys, and so the heat's just because you guys are just wearing it out. And but anyway, it was fun to do that. It was kind of made me wonder how the vocals were going to turn out, being Mike was singing behind a mask, and all the BGVs were too. But yeah, so I really liked that one. I love the bass that Sam was playing.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool. And so the other cool thing I really like to watch is the interaction that you and Charlie have when you get to play together.
Yeah,
I think that's really special there.
So those of you who aren't totally familiar with the project, Charlie is my son, and he got to play drums on the Kiss episode, and
nailed it. Yeah,
it's great. Now, a lot of people, and we won't talk this long about every video, but a lot of people, the masks predictably were divisive. People thought we were doing it to have a political statement or those sort of things. Literally, I thought we can't really do Kiss without doing the get up.
Yeah.
Again, do we do makeup? Do we do, and then it's like, well, everybody's wearing.
It's a great idea.
And so people just have to understand we weren't trying to make a political point or anything. We were literally just trying to look a little bit like Kiss. It was totally tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Whatever your viewpoints on COVID masks were, we were not weighing in on that. But you're right, it was super hot, even though it was like February.
Yeah.
For some reason, it was a hot day, and the air wasn't on in the building. And so, totally, you remember it exactly right. I'm glad you checked. Let's check it out. This is number 11. This is Kiss, Shout It Out Loud by the Lap Band. Moving into the 80s, this is, again, just there's not a lot of people that don't love this band. It's maybe not everybody's top 5 bands, but everybody seems to love Huey Lewis and the News. You picked Hip to Be Square. What do you love about it?
Yeah, so Hip to Be Square is it's really my favorite Huey Lewis song. And you brought in your good friend Kevin on this, and I had never met Kevin before, and so to hear his vocals on that, because I could really hear his vocals on it, because this is the last session that I did monitor mix for you guys on Lab Band, and so yeah, you might not remember that, but so anyway, yeah. So when I queued up his mic in my ears, his vocals just blew me away. I thought it was great. Also, from a camera point of view, I really like the overhead shots that we were doing in this time frame that we had. So it was great. You know, I'm a lover of horns. Yeah. When we bring the horns in, we as camera people know when we see the horns there, it's just going to be a fun night, you know, because we all love the horns. Those guys are fabulous. It's always fun. And Rob was there on that one, and Rob was cutting up a lot on that. And so it was good to see Rob playing on keys and stuff. It was just a fun episode to be on.
That's awesome. All right, this is Fred's number 10 on his top 11. This is Hip to Be Square. Check it out.
It's not too hard to figure out. See it every day. And those that were the farthest out have gone the other way. See them on the freeway.
So for your number 9, we're going to move to a classic rock, a little bit back in the 70s, a little bit heavier, but this one features Jessica on vocals. This is Barracuda at number 9. Why do you love it?
So at this point, when we reached Barracuda and threw Heart out there, I think it was when Jessica first kind of joined us, and I think we were all kind of shocked about how fabulous she was, right? And so from this point forward, when Heart came out, this is the way I introduce everybody else to Lexington Lab Band. Okay. I'm like, you've got to watch the Heart session first. Watch that, and you'll fall in love with Lab Band. Absolutely. So I love it for that reason. Jessica is just amazing. It was released in 1977, and I had just turned 16, so I just had my driver's license. Yeah. And I had an Oldsmobile Cutlass. My good friend had a Barracuda, and he wanted to trade with me, but my dad wouldn't let me trade. So I love that song Barracuda just because I wanted his car so bad.
Well, I totally agree. This is top shelf stuff from us in our blog. This is Barracuda. Check it out. Yeah. So the next one is a great tune. It's a deep cut. I'm glad you chose it. It's a little deeper cut on our catalog. This is James Gang. This is Walk Away. Why did you pick this song?
Well, this song, I absolutely love this song. It's just the opening guitar riff. Andrew was playing on this one, who we haven't seen him very much, but every time he shows up, it's great to have him there. And Roger and Andrew, the way they were playing the guitars together and making that eye contact with each other, that was fabulous. But I love that song. I've always loved that song. I think it's has a great groove. It's got a good drive to it. It makes you want to drive a car with the windows down and the radio up. You know what I mean? Sure. And it's just a lot of fun. And so one of the camera aspects that I like about this is the way that were able to show Roger using the amp to get the sounds that he was getting. And I think there's a couple shots in this with you using a foot pedal and stuff like that. And I think that's really important to the non-musician people, because that's how they get the sound. Okay, I see what they're doing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think it's real informative that, we show that aspect from time to time too. But the song is just fabulous. It's always been one of my favorite songs. I listen to it all the time.
That's great.
Even now, so yeah, it's always on my playlist.
That's awesome. Yeah, at the very end of the song, Roger's getting all that feedback and such.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, roll the windows down, crank it up, check it out. This is our version of Walk Away.
Seems to me, you don't want to talk about it. Seems to me, you just turn your pretty head and walk away. Walk away.
Keeping it in kind of the blues rock era, at number 7, you picked a Stevie Ray Vaughan track that we just released this year. This is Tightrope. Tell us what you love about it.
What's not to love about Sam Jones? And so when this song came out, you close your eyes and you think you're listening to Stevie Ray. All aspects, his voice, the tone of the guitar, everything. It's just, man, it's got a great groove. Stevie Ray is one of my all-time favorite guitar players. And Sam is just amazing vocally, really amazing on the guitar. I love it how he shows so much emotion by just closing his eyes and playing guitar. And so, like he's held that guitar like at least 6 hours a day, because just practicing, he's just fabulous on it. And I love every episode that he's on. And I had a really difficult time picking one with him on it. So this is my favorite from Sam.
It's a great pick, and you're right. The guitar is part of Sam's biology. It just is it's just part of him. So
yeah,
awesome. This is number 7 on Fred's top 11. This is Tightrope, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Looking back in front of me, through the eyes of love I see.
Another song from a real recent release. This has been within the last year. We did Led Zeppelin about a year ago, and you picked Immigrant Song at number 6 on your list. How come?
Well, I love the opening of it, just the screaming vocals coming out, and you and Jessica just nailed it. And so I think we were all impressed about the range that Jessica had of that. But one of my great memories, and some of your our fans might not know, but this was on a 45, and I actually had the 45. It was by Atlantic Records and the little red and black label. I wore that thing out, even though it was kind of a shorter version, but it was a 45. I had it. And I really like this one because Randy on bass sings, and that's pretty rare. So we get to see Randy do a little BGVs on these, on this episode right here. And it's fun to watch Randy's expressions and stuff. He's just fun to be around, and his fingers on playing this song on the bass, man, just watch his fingers on that. And it's like, how do they not get tied up in knots, man? You as a bass player know. Yeah. It's just amazing.
Yeah, he's really clean on that and plays it just fabulously, and it's an incredible bass part. That I think that's part of what our videos are unique, is that they show some stuff that people don't often catch because they don't see it. When they're listening to the recording, they might not always just pick up that, man, there's a 16th note bass run in that's just phenomenal. So that's awesome. This is Immigrant Song coming in at number 6 on your top 11 list. Check it out.
Always sweet with rushing over. Our only goal will be the Western Shore.
a left turn from the hard rock 70s stuff up. We're moving into the 80s. This is just an incredible ballad by one of my favorite bands. This is Toto, I'll Be Over You. Why did you pick this song as your number?
And it's just a great ballad, and it's just a big song about when people make a bad decision and later have regrets, and it's all about that. It's all about regrets, and man, it's just a beautiful song. The way you sang that song, I think vocally, this is, along with my song later in the list, is one of my favorite songs that you do vocally. And it's the emotion that you capture in this song. It's just so, it takes you down this path. This song takes you down this path, and you're feeling all emotional inside. And then Brad goes into that solo, that short little solo there at the end, and that just ripped your heart out, man. Brad was so good on that. It's an awesome song. So I love it. I love that song.
It is so well written from a musician's perspective. It's great to hear a non-musician, as you've labeled yourself, although I think you're pretty musical. But it's great to hear someone recognize how deep the song is, both musically and lyrically and all together. And it was fun is the wrong word to sing, but it was true pleasure to sing. And I felt the song, like you're saying.
Yeah. And that shows on camera. It really does.
I really appreciate that, and I'm glad you picked up on that. This is your number 5 on your top 11. This is Toto's "I'll Be Over You." Check it out. Okay, so this next one is a Bill Withers tune, and when we released this, you were able to share a really cool story with me, and so I'm going to ask you to share that story. It'll be obvious why you picked it on your list. Tell us about Use Me.
Yeah, so in 1971, I was in the hospital. I was diagnosed with a virus named Guillain-Barré syndrome, and so over a course of a few weeks, it took use of my legs away from me. So I was paralyzed essentially from that point on for about a year and a half. And so I spent my 11th birthday in the hospital, and there was an organization in Dayton that came around, and they would give the children gifts for their birthday. And they gave me an AM transistor radio. I still have that radio, by the way. Yeah. But they gave me an AM transistor radio. And about the only thing I could really do is turn it on. And so this song came out, and it was Use Me. And I love the groove of this song. Nothing else, but it was just a great groove on this song. And when you guys did it, of course, you did it like a Zoom meeting like we're having now. Yeah. And so us camera guys knew nothing about it, right? Absolutely nothing about it. We didn't know it was coming out or anything. And so you kind of ambushed me. So I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, I get a notification that LLB released the YouTube video. So I go straight to it. And it was that song. And I was back in 1971. It was like, wow, it's just, and I watched it. I know I wore my wife out on that song that first night. I had to watch it at least 10 times.
Let's be honest. She's probably worn out from the LLB video. So
she's a huge fan too, though. But yeah, so it was a great song. But man, I love, what I love about the way you guys did it is the way you put it together. The 5 shots. And I love watching Carson on bass. Who doesn't, man? He gets into the groove of things. And I I just love watching him. It's probably from a musician level, probably kind of like an easier song to do. But Kevin's vocals, golly, man, I tell you what, it did rip my heart out.
Oh,
and it's still one that I watch over. If I watch it once, I have to watch it at least 5 times.
oh wow, cool.
Yeah, because I love it.
What a trip down memory lane, and that's what a lot of these songs do for us. Not all of us have sat in a hospital bed and have songs that take us back there, but super glad that it's a positive memory of you coming through that.
Oh yeah.
So that's awesome. This is Use Me. This is your number 4 on your top 11 list. Everybody check it out.
Oh, my baby, when you love me, I can't get enough. I wanna spread the news that if it feels this good getting used, oh, you just keep on using me, yeah. Oh, until you use me up. Use me up.
Staying right there in the 70s, this is a song by the group Chicago. This has the horns and the vocals and everything going on. This is Beginnings. Why did you choose Beginnings to be your number 3?
Well, I think everybody loves Chicago. I mean, they're just a great band. The horns, like I said earlier, when the horns come in, we know it's going to be a fun night of filming and everything. It's just a great song. And again, it takes me back to that time era when I was in a wheelchair and stuck and, just listening to music all the time. And, but anyway, when we did this song, I love the horns. I love the opening. Brad on the acoustic guitar, he just nailed it. Every time Brad's there, it's just, he nailed it all the time. And Tim on drums, first time with us on drums. He did a great job. And Benji on vocals, man. What can you say about Benji on vocals on that song, man? It's so good. It's so good on that song. Yeah.
Hey, are you this? I may say this wrong, so correct me. But are you almost always on drums in our shoots?
I'm always on low end. It seems like I'm either on Randy or drums.
Bass or drums.
Or bass and drums, not just Randy, but bass and drums.
One or the other?
What's that?
You prefer one or the other?
It depends if they're on a riser or not. If they're on a riser and I have to stand up there, it's kind of interesting. Like on 38 Special, we had the dual drums.
Yeah.
And Jeff plays so hard, man. He broke a couple sticks, and I'm up on that riser, and the stick goes flying by my head, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's funny. I got off topic, but it just reminded me.
Yeah.
I often see you on the drums. So, anyways, all right. So this is your number 3. This is Chicago Beginnings.
Quickly try to decide which one I should try to put into words. Oh no, try to put it into words.
So this next one is one that I'm really proud of. It was a difficult session for me personally, but really fulfilling and challenging. You picked Rush YYZ at number 2. Tell us why.
Well, again, I love Rush, but to be honest with you, I had not really heard this song or this instrumental.
Okay.
And so I can't really say I was a big Rush fan, I guess, if I had never heard this. So I remember this night we come in, and on this night I'm on keys. I'm filming Austin, right? And so Austin's got a very small part on this.
Just like,
and so Neil's over on drums.
Yeah.
So Neil's on drums, and you guys are running through a section of the song. We're not recording it, but we're in position, and we're just kind of getting our shots and idea of what we're going to do. And so you guys are just running through the section of song, and Neil looks back at me, and I look over at Neil, and it's like, what? Because man, James is just killing it on drums, and you're right beside James, and you're killing it on bass. It's like, this is special.
Yeah.
You know, we just looked at each other and we just said, this is special. And, you know, of course, we had some difficulty with that session. But when we come off the stage after it was all said and done, I think we all walked away going, wow, this was incredible session. This whole session was just incredible. And this part of music, it's so difficult to watch you play the bass on this. You know, like I said before, Randy's fingers should be tied up. Yours definitely should be tied up on this one, because it was just incredible. And Chris on guitar, you know, he carried his weight on this one too. It's a great instrumental song.
Well, cool. Yeah, it was really honestly one of the more challenging ones for all of us to kind of put together, and I'm glad that you could see that as we were doing it. So this is number 2. This is YYZ by Rush. Give it a look. So we've gone from 11 all the way down to number 2. We've been through, I think, 3 decades or so of different styles of music: pop, rock, progressive, all that, ballads, you know, heavy stuff. But because you've been so kind to come in and do this, I know this is out of your wheelhouse. When you sent me your first list, I think there were like 30 songs on it, and then you whittled it down to like 15, and then I said, well, cut these, and you're like, I still have 12. And so we decided to do an honorable mention. We're going to give you one extra one. So this is it's cool because it's very different than most of our videos. So it seemed to fit the bill of being a great candidate for an honorable mention. And that is Run Like Hell by Pink Floyd. Why did this have to be on your list, even though I was only going to give you 11? So why?
Well, thank you for giving me an honorable mention. This is on my list solely. Well, I love the song, but it's on my list solely because of the camera work. And we got, you know, you got to hand it to Neil. He's our director. And so he's behind the scenes. You rarely ever see him. But to do the Steadicam and just run, and I think he did it in 3 takes. I think we restarted twice. And so it was 3 takes on the song. And to watch him, I was standing back by the soundboard, and I was filming it on my iPhone, just watching him run. And it was incredible to watch him run through that song. I totally even lost track of the song, just watching him do his magic. It was so well choreographed. You would have thought that you guys rehearsed this over and over again, but 3 takes. It was just amazing. It's a great song. Tom Lasega was with us.
Yes.
Tom's always great to have around, and Nick on guitar. He did a great job on Pink Floyd, man. It's just great guitars.
Yeah, Neil's running up and down, risers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you had to give him a cold rag when he finished because he's sweating so hard.
Awesome. Let's check out just a little bit of Neil's camera work on Hell. So we've done an honorable mention. You've gotten a 12th video in on our list. You must be awfully special. But we before we move to number one, I got to do a little bit of advertising. We have these links in our description of Patreon where you get behind the scenes footage, mixed down videos, early access to things, and just a much more tight community access to the band. It's a great place to just support us and just be a more active member. You can also get merchandise on those links. And we've got a new website, which would be awesome if you would check that out. But let's move on to your number one song. This is a U2 song, an incredible band from my youth. But this is a deeper cut, which I was surprised it was on your list, and it's your number one. This is Vertigo. Tell us why you love this video.
Well, before we move on to that, I just want to say something about Patreon also. I'm a Patreon subscriber, and so I'm like, just a camera guy. So we don't really hear what's going on stage, except for some of the guitar parts. We barely hear the vocals. We hear the drums, of course, but everything else we don't really hear. So I'm like a kid going to an amusement park, So I've got to sign up for Patreon. So I get the videos first, so I get to see them. And so, like at an amusement park, you ride the roller coaster, and then all of a sudden you got to get back on. So I'm the same way with Patreon. So. Cool. Before, when you release it on Patreon, I've watched that video probably a dozen times before it's out on YouTube. So, cool. Yeah, it's just great. Plus, I'm going to get front row tickets this year to the show. Yeah, so.
Of course. So, well, that's great. That's the best commercial we can have for that. And so go join Fred on Patreon. It's a great place to be. But let's get to your number one. Let's get to Vertigo. What is it that you love about it?
So Vertigo is a great song. I remember when it was released, a lot of controversy around it. Like, why did he go 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, right? So everybody thinks Bono always has these secret messages in the song and stuff like that. So I remember that. And so that just kind of drove you to listen to that song. I don't know if that was the reason he did it or what, who knows? But anyway, it's a great song. And I wasn't a part of this one. I was not on this one at all. Okay. And but I love the videography of this one. This was great. And so the opening song lines on it, when you start singing, there's a light right in between the microphone and your face, and you, and it's like, oh, that is so great, man. And then the movement of the cameras that we did during that, or that they did during that, I love that. It's just a great. It was filmed wonderfully. It was so cool to watch that video and the lyrics and the singing, and Matt Eden on air with the BGVs. That was fun. And Derek on bass, man, that bass was driving that song all the way through. I don't know if you bumped that bass up a little bit in your mix or what, but it was driving that song. I loved it. Listen to it on my headphones and stuff. It's just a great song. It's fun to watch. Jonathan McCowan was with us, and that was always fun too. So it's
great.
It was a great song.
You mentioned the video work, and again, it's a little known fact that our videographers are guys and gals that, for the most part, don't shoot video for a living.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're photographers. I know you do some photography on the side, that thing. It's just something that Neil brings in whoever wants to join and be part of it, and they volunteer, and we shoot some video, and they do a great job for as little experience as they've had before we do it. So props to our video crew. We literally would not be on the internet without them. They're a huge part of the brand of LLB, and so we're grateful for them. So this is number one. This is U2 Vertigo, Lexington Lab Band. Number one on Fred's top.
Number one.
Check it out.
Your love is
Well, Fred, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Well, coming to your den or your office, whatever that is, and for kind of taking us on a different trip than we might normally get from some of the musicians. We love how much you've supported the band, and not just your work, but also just how much you share it out, and how encouraging you are. You're just encouragement to us. So thanks for doing this.
You guys are great musicians, man. And I tell my wife all the time, man, it's just an honor to be up there on stage with you guys doing it, just kicking it and having a good time. Cause it's always a good time when we get together, but man, I love it. It's just a great experience to be there. So, and thank you for letting me choose 12.
Yeah. No,
because it's really hard to cut that list.
Long list, so I'm proud of you for getting it down. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys at our next release. Have a great one.
Yeah.